Hello again, this is Joy Butler. I am a former student of ISHI Hypnosis International, taught by Debbie Livingston, which is also under the organization the Spiritual Rights Foundation, which some of you may already know is a destructive cult. That's right, you heard it. The Spiritual Rights Foundation is a destructive cult, one of the most notorious ones in the Bay Area. And I spent about 13-14 years of my life there, just got out this year, and I felt it almost an obligation to try to share some information with the public to hopefully steer some people away. ISHI Hypnosis and the Spiritual Rights Foundation, also it is called the Academy for Psychic Studies. It is an organization filled with many bad memories for me and many other members. It was almost like a prison in a way. You really can't tell what it's all about on the surface, like most things, right? If you were to go in there, people would be friendly, they'll try to be professional, yeah, the more you go into it, the more classes you take, the more involved you are, the more they'll want out of you, and it just kind of spirals, where, you know, they indoctrinate you basically into the cult, and you start out in these beginning classes is what they're called, and they're really trying to reel you in to go into deeper levels of training, and so it's a pretty dangerous place. So what I've been doing, I do have a blog. My husband, who is also a member there for about the same time as I was, he has a blog, leavingsrfcult.blogspot.com. You can visit that, and mine is learningtoletgosrf.blogspot.com. So those are our two main blogs where we're writing about our experiences. And in this video, this is actually part of a series where I read excerpts from a book by Steve Sanchez. In his book Spiritual Perversion, he basically talks about his whole time at the Spiritual Rights Foundation, what happened there, what personal things he went through. It's a very powerful book. I knew him for 3 or 4 years before he was basically pushed out in a way, because the abuse just got so intense. Bill Doobie, who was the founder of the Spiritual Rights Foundation, basically took away his wife, taking away his child, took away his means of income, and took away his self-esteem, his ability to do things for himself, to think for himself. Steve Sanchez went through many hard times, like many of the members that were part of the Spiritual Rights Foundation, and through the newspapers to bring awareness to the community of this organization. So let's see, I'm going to read a very quick excerpt. I think I talked a lot already. So I just have a little tiny paragraph that I want to read right now from his book. I'm not sure what chapter it is, but it's under Deeper Darkness. So it's just, he's recounting different things that happened there. Okay. Practically every week it seemed Reverend Debbie had some kind of major growth period, and then claimed to receive a miraculous healing from Reverend Bill. Bill told us on several occasions, "Debbie's a ditzy dimple girl. She's a perfect subject. She wants to please me so bad I can't get her off of me like a booger." All you have to do with her is put a tape in her head, and she will act it out for you perfectly, whether she is in or out of trance. Actually, a waking suggestion is the strongest kind. I've been doing this with all you people for years. So that's the quote. Wow. This brings up a lot for me. There's 2 or 3 really big things going on here in this paragraph. Just start at the beginning. The part where it's talking about Debbie, Reverend Debbie is actually Debbie Livingston Boucher, which is the current director of the ISHI Hypnosis program. And the leaders of a Spiritual Rights Foundation are kind of putting her out there because she is a very friendly person, very charismatic person. Since they lost Reverend Bill, she definitely was the one that Bill was training in his place to take over as far as being the face of the organization. And I witnessed this many times where Bill would talk about, oh yeah, you just put a tape in Debbie's head. Basically, he would tell her what to say and she would say it. He would tell her what to do and she would go along with anything he said. I mean, it's like, it was ridiculous. It's like she wanted so much to please him, she gave up her very close partner, who I've talked about earlier. She gave up her children to Bill Doobie, and he had his children. He had her children do these horrible things. I mean, of course, it's none of their fault, but that was one of the things that really bothered me. Even while I was there, I would see one of her children, sorry. It's just very upsetting. One of her children I saw when she was just 10, 11 years old, walking up these 2 flights of stairs that are in the school. Past midnight, maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, and she would be holding these video equipment and recording equipment because they were making tapes for Health and Wealth, which is another business under the Spiritual Rights Foundation, in which Debbie actually makes tapes and sells them, but really all the proceeds go to the Spiritual Rights Foundation. It's quite crazy. But anywho, long time ago, about 10, 12 years ago, her oldest daughter, would be working for Health and Wealth free of charge in the middle of the night, basically, when she should have been home in bed, sleeping, resting, dreaming about boys or girls or whatever, dreaming about kid stuff. But she was working, and they had her working all the time. She didn't go to school. She didn't go to a public school. She barely got education at home. Her dad finally left the academy and was fighting so hard in the courts to get her to go to school. But it was kind of too late. She had already graduated by the time he could, maybe get her into public school. It's really a shame. She's such a bright girl, but she's really lost in the world right now. It's a real problem with me that a mother would let their children work at such a young age in the middle of the night. But that's what happens in cults. That's what happens in cults. You have a charismatic leader, and he takes control over people's minds. It's just really troubling. So basically, if you purchase CDs, videos, WCDs or videos from Health and Wealth, you will be supporting an organization that used child labor. Okay? Free of charge. So, yeah, so just think about that.